Hey guys, quick editor's note before I start the video. I'm basically at a loss of what I'm about to be doing at this moment, so I can't really afford that much. Though I really thank everybody on YouTube. I'm trying to be able to provide some funds for me. So, it would be really much appreciated if you got a chance to watch my videos or donate to my GoFi, because I'll be needing everything I can in order to keep the stream alive. At least until I'm able to get myself a better job. In this case, you could just feel free to watch the video or whatever. Just be sure to at least understand where I'm heading at, because I'm probably going to be offline for a few months at the moment. Because I just want to focus on another priority of getting a better job at the moment. So, with that being said, I just hope you enjoy the video. Let's just get through this. Digimon Adventure. What started as a toy line in 1997 evolved into a franchise that challenged Pokemon in Japan. Except it didn't challenge Pokemon, you jerks. The series was the brainchild of Akiyoshi Hongo, which was directed by Hiroyuki Kakudo, and featured character designs by Katsuyoshi Nakatsuru, who you might know from doing this somewhat of a obscure little-known show, and I think it was called Dragon Ball. Anyway, the entire series was shafted over to the West through Saban Productions, which is likely what you guys grew up on, but we're going to be taking a deep look at the Digimon through its original tongue. And in celebration of the new anime to ride its success, here's the Digimon Adventure Review, Part 1. I'll try to explain my issues with the show as well as some things that I enjoy about the show as well. Maybe if it does well, I'll do a part 2 when I break down the episodes in the next arc. Please, I really need a long-form video to do well here. The series starts with reports of unearthly disasters which may or may not have predicted global warming, or associated with global cooling of sorts. Nah, it's probably just politics.
You know, that other crisis we're ignoring and plan to profit from obscenely at your expense.
We get introduced to our main protagonist of summer camp in this, at first highlighted, as one-note personalities. Taichi Yagami, the de facto leader of the group. Sora Takanouchi, tomboyish type person. Yamato Ishida, who someone wish he would just step on your balls back in the day. Koshiro Izumi, a self-proclaimed computer expert who may or may not also be a gifted student. I'm not sure. Mimi Takikawa, a sheltered one. Takeru Takahashi, the forgotten one, and Joe Kudo. So a blizzard strikes and we get our title card. Now before continuing, I need to say, for someone who has only watched the series through the original Japanese tongue, I love the music selection from composer Kosuke Nishikawa. You might know him for composing some music for another little-known anime franchise in the 90s. I think it was called Sailor Moon? His music helps liven the mood when need be, but his action scores are also really good and help raise what tension there is to it. I've actually listened to the dub at the Guildhall Anime Club Subathon back in June, and Paul Gordon's replacement score? It ain't bad.
Wait a minute, what am I laughing at? I'm supposed to be depressed!
But I never really grew up with the series while it was airing on Nicktoons. I was more into either Power Rangers or Dragon Ball Z Kai growing up. That being said, I can't really play those tracks due to copyrighted material, so the only way you'll be able to hear Nishikawa's score is through the Japanese release that was shipped by Discotech Media. Anyway, the storm clears up and the group encounters some aurora outside. All is peaceful until a meteor strikes and Digivices slam onto the ground, in which the kids later get sucked into some sort of wave of sorts.
Downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral, downward spiral.
Did I mention this anime is an isekai? It's then we meet Koromon, Taichi's partner. The rest of the episode is mostly spent on introducing the partners to the children. The animation in this episode was directed by Yoshitaka Yoshima, who also did the key animation alongside Masahiro Noi. Now Yoshima has credits sprawling across Toei's legacy, but it's incredibly hard to find his work. Mainly because he was heavily subject to corrections. Now he's actually pretty easy to spot, literally doing the first appearance of Koshiro trying to connect to the internet, mainly due to how spread apart his eyes are. And this isn't the last time you'll be seeing him like this. Now Forgotten Relics already did a pretty nice job explaining the corrections Yoshima had to go through thanks to Tadayoshi Yamamura's corrections. With Masahiro Noi, it's even harder. According to Amazing Adventure on Tumblr, who's done a fantastic post on Noi, we can pinpoint that he's done work on 7 episodes as animation director, not including the introduction episodes such as the countless introductions of the cast members, while Yoshima possibly handled the fight scenes. After the first evolution, following a failed attempt to attack the Kuagumon using bubbles, the Digimon proceed to evolve to second forms and duke out the beetle, but not without them setting the group into the ravine below. So the episode is basically just a setup for the next 5. So let's talk about them. After that life-threatening incident, and finally getting to shore, the group then ventured forward in search of help. Later on, they found telephones on a beach, to which they called with no response. The animation here is much more refined as far as things are concerned, which is served well under Setsuko Nobuzan, as well as guest animator Taichiro Ohara. Ohara is served well into Dragon Ball's franchise, but is very overlooked thanks to Masayuki Uchiyama's rigorous corrections under him. Forgotten Relic's already yapped about him, so go check out his content if you want to learn more. After that, the kids with the exception of Joe split up supplies amongst the group for the entire trip. Mimi seems to be the most prepared, considering her personality was sheltered as a spoiled brat would, though the Digimon wouldn't worry about food until plot demands for it. The plot arises guys who explode the telephone poles, and we soon find out that a certain Digimon can't attack the certain beast except for one. I call bullshit on this. This is where the notion of attributes starts taking place, which refers to the type of computer file a Digimon represents. We'll talk about that at the end of part 2. After Taichi gets caught up into some trouble with Shellmon, Agumon evolves to Greymon, and chucks it out into the sea with its Mega Flame attack, animated by Ohara, devolving back to Agumon in the process. After that, the kids try to embark on their quest home. Now let's talk evolutions for a bit. Simply put, in the show thus far, there's the concept of evolution stages the Digimon must go through. Digitama, fresh, in training, child, and recently, adult. The evolution stage may vary on the overall stanza that must be taken, but evolution allows said Digimon to reach a certain stage temporarily before reverting back to its child form after. It's the best way I can explain it. Just be prepared to hear Braveheart in every episode if you're watching the Japanese version for the first time. And for you English viewers, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to try to go faster with the next 5 because they're mostly follow a tight formula. Also, I'm going to stop breaking down the animators unless the work is integral to the discussion of the topic. If you want to learn more, I got an entire breakdown series ongoing if shorts are your thing. After escaping the group of Monochromons, great name, the group encounters a trolley and decides to set up shop as a campout spot for the night. They were wrecked by a Seadramon, Gabumon evolves to Garurumon, and dukes out the beast. It's here where we meet our animation director, Toshio Deguchi. Nowadays, you can find him animating on One Piece thanks to Twitter verifications on some Sakagaboru videos detailing his work. He's a fine animator on his own, but he's woefully plagued with animation errors and inconsistent designs that degrade the experience for me. At least we got to see Yamato's harmonica skills in this episode, serving him more as a calculating but sometimes butts heads with Taichi and company when things don't go out his way in his favor since he wants to prioritize others over himself for their safety. More on that in episode 9. The group encounters several utility poles in disarray, and soon stumble upon a village populated by Pyokomon. Getting attacked by Murumon, getting pummeled around for a bit, Pyokomon evolves to Bertramon, takes out the big bad, and... Okay, Elephantmon in the room. Yukio Ebisawa serves as the animation director on this episode, and we can really start to see some anatomy issues plague some of the shots in the episodes. Responsible for some of the lowest shots in Dragon Ball Z, though I will give him a pass since he improved his art style during the Frieza saga, getting pretty good at the Cell saga, and then got really good once the Buu saga came on. His anatomy still plagues the show, and there could be some dead moments, usually known for his reused animation back-to-back in some shots. Anything not done by Ebisawa is Kanesua's work. Anyway, Piyomon and Sora's relationship starts developing, with Piyomon mainly being clingy to her as a partner, as is Sora trying to get supports for the others as the level head of the situation for a goal getting back home to their world. I should also mention on a tangent that this is where we first hear about the Black Gears, a contraption that which injected turns a Digimon to evil. Mainly used as a device on File Island to either cause regular Digimon to go berserk or further empower the evil Digimon. Though there were already some naturally evil Digimon characters found within the show to this point, so there's also that. Next episode, the children find an abandoned factory on the island and decide to check it out. It's there where they get pummeled by Andromon affected by a Black Gear. Meanwhile, Koshiro and Tentomon discover the control panel where erasing symbols somehow shuts off the entire factory. And then a two-way fight breaks out between Agumon and Kabuterimon versus Andromon affected by the Black Gear. Brilliant stuff! Now about our animation director Masahiro Noi. Flame Noi all you want for being incredibly off-model with his work, but if you take a look at some of his fight scenes in this episode, It just makes him look like Ebisawa during the Buu days. This guy can cook if he really wants to, and it shows in the Greymon and Garurumon vs Angemon animation. He's fairly conservative with his work, but the white speed lines he would use would also be a staple of his work. In the next episode, the children stumble inside a sewage and... oh god, Numimon. Which I can easily describe as a bunch of pervs. And yes, I would complain about toilet humor in this, but this has mostly been a thing since the days of Dr. Slumpet, so maybe Akira Toriyama was onto something? Anyway, after that plus the vending machine fiasco that relates to the previous scene in the sewers, everyone gets scared by Monzaimon, infected by a black ear. Despite this being Yoshima's brilliant work, this isn't his best episode by a long shot, given the smaller budget he had for it. If anything, Nobuzan was often given larger budgets, despite being given around the same amount of time to develop these episodes as animation directors. But we'll take what we can get. The whole episode is just... weird. And manipulative. Badly animated, actually. Moving on. Next episode. Everyone ventures off and Joe is mainly tense, noting everyone should remain serious about the moment at hand, for the group may not know what may come next following all this. This is the one where they get stuck by a Unimon, leading to Gomamon evolving to Ikakumon. He takes them out, the gear breaks, and this is where the formula ends for the past 5 episodes. Because out there, Infinity Island is nothing more but just a mere island. The team found themselves surrounded by an immense sea with no exit. At least we're out of the formulaic type stuff with the show for the time being. Thankfully for something formulaic, it doesn't necessarily feel like it since the entire time character development is starting to shift amongst the group, and we learn some new lore about the digital world going forward. The group wound up in a mansion for the night after a long hike through the island, all after a heated battle between Leomon and Ogremon, as the former got affected by a black gear. The cozy mansion the children step into turned out to be a trap set by the nefarious Devimon. He's a great villain for this arc, basically providing that the digital world isn't necessarily as bright as storybookish as the kids thought. With his presence, it becomes a slightly darker world, shrouded in slight horrors that would test the children's abilities going forward. He also managed to split the group up into separate continents for the episode, which perfectly sets up Part B for the story arc. Anyway, speaking of Leomon, he's fairly noble in this, but we wind up seeing a twisted version of himself manipulated by the Black Gears. Taichi was able to remove it for a brief second, due to the Digivice reacting, but Devimon seems none the wiser to control Leomon for the sake of spreading darkness onto the now split apart File Island. It helps elevate the stakes a little bit, and helps bring tension for a show that's aimed at children. In Japan, it's not uncommon to dive into weighty topics, and I think that has to do with what the show is capable of airing on Japanese television during this time. And I wish to applaud Saban for trying to translate these topics into the Western field, but I feel there are a lot of things that get lost in translation due to the main demographic being so maligned when it comes to what can and can't be shown on television. Leomon's hungry for blood. Next episode. Taichi and Agumon trail off to the frozen tundra and face off against Yukijurumon. They were soon able to knock the black gear out of him, and after some powwow from Frostymon because I'm not going to bother pronouncing that name again, they venture into a larger island ahead. Meanwhile, Gabumon was trying to establish the frozen Yamato after he was searching for his younger brother, highlighting a genuine concern for his broski earlier. After Taichi and Yamato reunite, it's important to note the quarrel these two will face. The former thinks about himself, and the latter prefers to keep everyone safe at all costs since he doesn't want to see anyone die out in the heat of the battle. And then they get attacked by Mojiamon, also affected by a black gear, and quickly taken out by Greymon through the black gear. The truce is settled between the pair, and they focus on their path back to Infinity Island. Shikataka Kiyoyama makes his debut as an animation director on the show, which I've already explained in great detail back on the breakdown. Great fit, though not as good as Setsuko Nobuzan in a way, but that's fine. I'm not here to gush over the animation or tear it apart. If anything, it looks shit already. The good animators are already working on their own thing for their respective shows.
Shiam, just do it already!
There's also some pretty good tension and some clear-cut character development between the two characters of the show. And this won't be the last time these two get wound up into a fight. The biggest nothing burger episode in this arc. But surprisingly, I found the entire series catered to the source material, but again, This is anime canon, so I'm not sure how this translates into making 54 episodes. During the beginning stages, there were supposed to be 13. Goshiro and Mimi stumble into a temple nearby, and the two get split up again, navigating into an endless maze. All while Kintermon attacks them, affected by a black gear. Shenanigans ensue as they run into Leomon on the prowl, but manage to take out Kentormon, but Leomon is further strengthened by the Devimon. The light drives away the Leomon away, and the island moves back into Infinity Island again. Tomoko Ito is the last animation director on the show. Not much is known about him, and I don't care for what he does. Just know he does the important episodes. Also, Sukamon exists.
スカモン輝ける黄金うんち自分に知性がないので小型デジモンの注文を頭脳代わりにしている
A shitmon horny for a minor. If you think that the Numimon is an awful person, then Sukamon should just be put down like Golda Yeller. I mean, this is disgusting. Actually, no. I'm gonna discuss this in full detail. Does it need to be a problem that every shonen does this? Do we need this kind of shit in every shonen imaginable because it's really just a bunch of hermits living in their parents' basement watching this? Is this a reason a fucking truck has more screen time than 1010? Also, the fact they made a Digimon out of literal shit. Oh my god, I'm gonna have a bad time with the future episodes, am I? At least we knocked out the animation directors. Let's just focus on the episodes themselves going forward. And take our mind off of this before this video gets copy-striked. Joe is stranded on a boat with Gomamon. Gomamon gets hungry. He says funny line in Japanese. Attacked by said Ogremon, they meet up with Sora and Piyomon. Jesus, how many Mons are there? While Joe is declared the leader of the duo despite his cowardliness. Joe and Sora bounce off each other very well in this episode. And I especially enjoy how their personalities clash throughout the end, since she cares about everybody around her. See episode 4 where her bond with Piyomon slowly started growing over time. Also, I love the idea of being surrounded in a gravesite, hosting a little-known festival to give offerings to the Bakamon, only to find out that Sora and Joe are the offerings. Ishima gives a good deal of expressions to the characters, and enjoy how it's handled here. After Gomamon and Piyomon break free of the Bakamon, the island reverses course towards Infinity Island. This may feel like a nothing burger episode like episode 10, but I honestly doubt it, considering it was the case that this was pretty lore heavy. So Takuru and Patamon find themselves isolated and abandoned from the group. Patamon is miserable since he knows he can't evolve like the rest of the Digimon. They stumble upon some train tracks that lift the barriers and soon stumble upon a village of giant toy blocks. After spending time looking after the fresh Digimon, they stumble upon a Lekmon and shenanigans ensuing, almost triggering Patamon's evolution. After a brief tug-of-war to determine the strongest, the gears reverse course and all is well at the end, with Leomon preparing to embark upon the children's demise. This is the episode that introduces the Digi-Nursery, for which I'll refer to it since the dub seems to love putting Digi at the start of a lot of things. But again, the Japanese puts a lot of Mon in it too. Nevertheless, this is a very good study of Takuru's character, as it was his proper introduction as a character. Mostly defenseless, but would soon develop into something greater as the series would press on, as would Patamon. This would soon come down to the finale to the story arc, as Devimon stares over the horizon, awaiting to bring doom to the children from summer camp. The showdown finally awaits Devimon after a heated battle against the possessed Leomon. After knocking that black gear out of his system, Leomon finally explains to the kids that they're the chosen children. The prophesized ones, in fact. After a good deal of exposition dump, Koshiro believes if they defeat Devimon, they'll be able to be sent back to their homeworld. Devimon dukes it out with the Digimon, and soon after Patamon had his canon event, Angemon, because we needed this thing to become a holy trinity around here. The entire conversation between Leomon and the chosen children looked different, because it isn't just Ebisawa and Suwa handling everything, which basically breaks down the fact that the entire thing was animated by Mari Tominaga, a guest animator who usually helped out on Ebisawa on some Dragon Ball projects. More on that once I break down the episode. The fight later concludes as Devimon is defeated and Angemon is reborn as an egg. Takuru knows he'll take care of it, but the children ponder over Devimon's final words, that there will always be more powerful Digimon waiting to challenge them. And then, a holographic old man shows up, Genai, and it all seems more evident that their quest isn't over quite yet. Far from it, for there lies a prophecy. It leaves the viewer wanting more, but I shan't say any more, as I will spoil the next story arc, and arguably, the very best episode Digimon awaits for us. Joe can suck an egg, though.